also means that, according to scriptures, I'm going to show us now, it also means that that power is a derived power. It's because God allowed it and because God put the person there. There's an authority, which is what is pictured in that Psalm 82 verse 8. Because if you read Romans chapter 13 and verses 1 to 3, it says, Romans 13, 1 to 3, it says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. For there is no power but of God, including any power that is in any place. Say there is no power, but that power is of God. For the powers that be, someone say powers that be. I know some people don't like it when they read this page. Said the powers that be, they are what? They are ordained of God. Sometimes when I read this page, I say, no, this one is not ordained of God, though. They ordained themselves. But he said powers that be, they are ordained of God. So in their day, Herod and all those people, whoever the kings are, whether the, maybe it's Pilate or whatever, he said that what? They are what? Ordained of God. New Testament too, ordained of God. Wherefore, therefore, resisted the power. Whosoever, therefore, resisted the power, resisted the ordinance of God. And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. For rulers are not, now that is for the people. Rulers too, they have their own, right? Because what the rulers were the ones that were being judged in that Psalm 82. The rulers is now, this is now the role of the ruler. It said, for rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. They're supposed to help with evil, right? Make sure that it's the security and things like that. Ensure that things flow within the society in the proper manner. He said, wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Speaking to them. That do that which is good, and thou shalt have the praise of the same. So there's an instruction to them here. So human rulers, he's saying that human rulers are to remember that even though they are representing God in this world, they are mortal and must eventually give an account to God for how they use that authority. So going back to that John chapter 10, now I'm trying to take my time to really explain that. Jesus had claimed to be the Son of God in verse 25 to 30. He had claimed to be the Son of God. The unbelieving Jews, they responded by charging Jesus with blasphemy since he claimed to be God. Verse 33. That was when Jesus then quoted that Psalm 82, verse 6. He said the scripture cannot be set aside and all that. He said, you charge me, verse 6, you charge me with blasphemy based on my use of the title Son of God. Yet, your own scripture apply the same term to others that are not me. Do you get it now? He says, you guys are Jews. Your scripture is referring to other people that are human beings. They are judges, right? Your own scripture, as if it's not Jesus' scripture. Say, maybe your scripture, you people, your scripture says that people that are in those positions of power and authority, right? You said that they are gods. You didn't argue. You didn't say they are not Elohim. And it's Elohim that was used though. Me, I now say I'm the Son of God. So what is it to you if I use the same language? Jesus is saying, if I use the same language that the psalmist wrote, well, that was not David though, that was Psalm of Asaph, right? That the psalmist wrote. He said, why are you angry? Why are you angry that I'm calling myself the Son of God? Because there you have ye are gods, you have children of the Most High. So why are you angry? Didn't your own psalm, your scripture, also says that? So he's saying that your scriptures apply the same term to others beside God. Use the word Elohim. So if those who hold a divinely appointed office or those who have a divine position in the spiritual realm can be considered gods, that's what Jesus is saying, how much more the one whom God has chosen and sent? Me, I was chosen and sent. If those other ones are called gods, how much more me? And this is a side note now, that I know that we use that place and say, we Christians say, yeah, gods, but gods is not always referring to believers, even after the Gospels. Believers were not called gods. There's no place, for example, in the epistles that believers were called gods. Romans He calls us sons of God, right? He calls us children of God. He calls us believers. He calls us new creations. He calls us the redeemed, right? So that terminology was not really used for us. It wasn't used for us, because if you go to Acts 19 verse 26.